everybody, this is Laura, City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today I have a layout that I made for a Punched Out Thursday to die for. In this series, we use our punches and our dies to create scrapbooking layouts. I was having a lot of trouble with this layout. I couldn't think of any ideas. I tried a couple of different things, some different pictures. I finally decided that I was going to use these two pictures and I was going to stick with it and figure out a way to scrapbook them that I was happy with. Since I have two large photos, I thought that a grid design would be a good choice. So I started out with a piece of black cardstock and then I cut the green pattern paper slightly smaller. I cut out two thin strips of paper to go above and below the photo. When I have it, I like to use a striped paper to make thin strips. And then I used an EK Success punch, you could see it to the right of the layout, to add a little bit of detail to those strips of paper. I attached the striped strips to the punched out border using some ATG adhesive, and now I'm working on filling in those areas below and above the two photos. For this layout, I didn't use any one collection. For some of the papers, such as the purple paper and the black and white dotted paper, I used papers that were in a folder of Halloween scraps that I have, and then the orange paper with the bats on it, that is a full sheet of paper, and that's from another envelope of assorted Halloween papers that I have. Once I had the strips cut to size, I inked them with some Distress Oxide in black soot, and then I attached them down. And now I'm attaching down the strips of striped paper to the larger piece of cardstock, and I'm using a little bit of Scotch tape to help that stay together. I could have just attached everything down to the layout. I didn't have to attach them together, but in order to get the positioning right, I thought that this would be the best way to go. So now I changed my mind a little bit. I like the green paper, but I was thinking of putting a black and white paper on the top and the bottom of the layout. So I cut out a small piece of the green paper and I attached that down to the right of the grid of photos. And for the top and the bottom of the layout, I chose this black and white spider web paper. It's just going to be a thin strip of paper, but I like the idea of having a paper that is somewhat of a neutral on the top and the bottom. So I cut those to size and then I attach them down to the layout. I really love scrapbooking Halloween. Every year my family goes to Salem, Massachusetts, and I've made lots of videos about layouts that I've made for this topic, but because I scrapbook so many photos of a Halloween theme, I do keep a lot of Halloween papers on hand, and I do really love scrapbooking this topic because we always have a good time when we're there. I use a little bit of gel glue to glue down that punched out border. The border is a little too delicate to attach down using the ATG gun. Now I'm going to begin working on my title. I have these dies in my stash that were a really nice size, and I'm sorry I don't know the manufacturer of these letters. The problem with them was, though, that I felt that they were a little too thin, but I'm going to work on that in a little bit. Right now I'm just cutting them out of some black and gray paper. For this layout, I felt the best place for the title would be to the right of the grid, running vertically rather than horizontally and facing the grid. I used some Distress Oxide in black soot to ink the letters, but because the letters are so thin, I ended up inking my fingers just as much as I inked each of the letters. After I inked the letters, I cut out the title one more time using some white cardstock. In order to make the letters appear a little bit bigger, I'm going to offset the black and the white letters, and that will not only make the letters appear more substantial, it will also help them be a little bit more visible. It was a little bit tricky to offset these letters because they're so thin, but not too bad. I ended up being able to offset the black and the white letters, and I placed them on the layout, and now I'm trying to figure out what kind of embellishments I want to add to the layout. So because I'm not having the easiest time making this layout, I thought I would go to one of my favorite Halloween embellishments, which are these Jolie's jack-o'-lanterns. And then I wanted to add to my title, so I'm adding a strip to the right of the title that I already have there. The area of green just seemed a little bit too large, and I thought it would be best if it was broken up a bit. So I'm again using that spider web paper that I used at the top and the bottom of the layout. I cut a strip and then I backed it with some black cardstock. I decided against those jack-o'-lanterns. I didn't like the colors. They just didn't seem right for this layout. So I found these My Mind's Eye stickers, and I thought that the color scheme of the stickers went better with the color scheme that I have on my layout. I chose a larger sticker that said All Hallows Eve, and I put that on the area at the top of the layout. For the area at the bottom of the layout, I was trying a bunch of different stickers, and I realized that none of the stickers were going to cover up the rip in that black and orange paper that has the bats on it, so I cut a new strip of paper to go there. I tried out a lot of the stickers that were on that sticker sheet, and I finally decided on this simple sticker that says Happy Halloween. Then I went back to my title and I used a little bit of ATG adhesive to attach down the letters. I wasn't ready to glue them down with wet glue yet. I wanted to make sure I had the right positioning and spacing. And although I had planned to go back in and add some gel glue, I ended up just using the ATG adhesive. It worked just fine. In order to add to my title, I'm using these small Martha Stewart stickers. They're black and white diagonally striped on the surface, and then there's some orange on the sides. They're very pretty letters. So I added Streets of to make the title say Streets of Salem. And I wanted to add something to the title, so I found these little rats on that same letter sticker sheet, and I thought that those would look nice sitting on some of the letters. And now I'm using this piece of purple paper, and I'm using an EK Success photo corner punch. This is the scalloped one, and I'm cutting out some photo corners. I'm only going to put 2 photo corners on each of the photos, and I really like this purple color. I'm inking the edges with, again, the Distress Oxide in Black Soot, and then I'm using the ATG adhesive to attach those down to the photos. There was a sparkly bat sticker, or actually there were several of them, but I chose one of them to put over the sticker that's on the bottom of the page. And I also like this skull and crossbones, but it doesn't end up staying on the layout. It just didn't seem to match in with the rest of the layout, so I end up taking that off. The stickers from My Mind's Eye that I used had some jewels on them, so I thought that I would add some additional jewels. I'm using some purple jewels right now, and then I'm also going to add some black jewels to the layout as well. I put the small purple jewels on each of the photo corners, and I also use them to embellish the chandelier that's on the sticker. And then I added these large black jewels to the title. I didn't end up liking those. I found these very, very tiny black jewels in my stash. They were in strips, but I cut them into individual jewels and embellished that punched out border. And I don't show you all the footage, but I added jewels to the punched out border on the top and the bottom of the layout. And that is the last touch, and that completes this layout. Here are some close-ups. Thanks, as always, so much for watching this video, everybody. I very much appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please check the description box for links to the channels of all the other lovely ladies who take part in a Punched Out Thursday to Die For. You'll get lots of inspiration. I hope that you have a great day, and I'll see you next Thursday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.